Hi class, I'm so glad you're back. I hope you had a good weekend. What we're going to do today is we're going to focus on one specific grammar that I've seen a lot of you be confused about, ask questions, and so I noticed that the whole group as a whole, we are going to benefit from this lesson, all right? So I wanted to talk about modal verbs today. And before you even start asking, oh no, my goodness, I don't know anything about modal verbs, what are they? I am sure you've already used these a lot of times before when you were speaking English. So don't worry about it. We're going to practice, or we're going to warm up first, all right? So we're going to do a warm-up activity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a sign. This is a sign that you all know, that you probably have all seen somewhere, right? What is the sign? Can anyone just raise their hand and shout out, what does this sign even mean? No smoking. Is that right? Yes. Very good. No smoking. And how would we tell somebody, right? If I asked you to say it in full sentence, not no smoking, not just that, but if I asked you to speak in a full sentence, how would you describe this picture? Great. All right. So you said you cannot smoke here, right? You can't smoke here. That's good. That's very great. You can't smoke here, or right? So you just used, without even knowing what that means, or maybe you did, but without even knowing what it is, the name of it, you just used a modal verb, which is amazing, right? Modal verb is things that we already know and use. It's called, some modal verbs are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would, all right? But there are just so many of them that sometimes it gets confusing. When do I use would? When do I use will? When should I use should? When should I use must, right? Sometimes that gets a little confusing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I want us to go back to the warm-up activity that we were doing, all right? So we've said that this is, you cannot smoke here, in here, all right? I have another one. What is this sign? Does this mean we do not like dogs? No, right? We love dogs. What does this mean? Where do you see this sign, first of all? Yeah, you might see it in a grocery store, a department store. Yes. You might see it in places where what? Can you tell me in full sentence what this means, what this sign means? No dogs allowed. Okay, that is technically the meaning of the sign. Can you tell me in full sentence so that we use a modal verb? Sure. You can't bring a dog in here, right? Great. Is there another way you could say that? Maybe using the word must or must not. All right, go ahead. You must not bring a dog in here, or an animal, right? It might not just be dog, it might also be other pets. Right, very good. I am so glad because you are already learning, you already know this. All right, what about this sign? What does this sign mean? All right, yeah, no cell phones allowed, no cell phones, right? And I know, you know, I'm going to ask you, can you say that in full sentence? Yes. You shouldn't bring your cell phone. That is, you use the word should. That is another modal verb. That is great. Do you think the sign says you shouldn't bring your cell phone? That's one way to say it. What's another way to say it? You mustn't bring your cell phone in? Yeah, okay, so it could be turn off your cell phone, right? It could also be that. Don't use your cell phone. When do you see this? When would you say turn off your cell phones, please? You must turn off your cell phones. Yes, when watching movies in a public space, right? Like in a theater. In a movie theater, they might ask you and might show you the sign and be like, please turn off your cell phones. You shouldn't use your cell phones, right? Very good. What about this sign? Has anyone seen this sign before? Where might you see this sign? Will you see this in schools? Maybe, if they have swimming pools. Will you see this in highways as a road sign? No, probably not. Yeah, so you might see them near rivers or streams. You might see them in swimming pools, although why would they put up a sign? I like how you're very thoughtful there. Yes, it might be dangerous to swim, right? And that's why they might put the sign that says, do not swim. How would you say this to, let's say you're bringing your little nephew or your little cousin and you saw the sign posted and they ask you, your nephew asks you, what does that mean? What would you say? Yeah, very good. You can't swim in here, or like in this river, or wherever it is, right? Very good. All right, I have two more. What does this mean? You've seen it before. Where have you seen this? Yes. You've seen it in museums, in art exhibits. Where else? Do you see this when you take buses or metros? Sometimes. So sometimes we see it in metros where we don't allow people to take pictures of other people, especially if it's a private picture, right? But where else might you see it? Yeah. So, and why do we do that? Because we want to protect the copyrights of the author or painter, or right? So we want to protect their property. And so we say no pictures allowed, no photography allowed. But how would you say that if I were a guard at the museum and I saw somebody taking a picture, even though the sign was posted, what should I say to that person? Yes, I'm glad you started with excuse me. That is very polite. Excuse me, right? Keep going. Awesome. Yes, excuse me. You're not allowed, you should not take pictures in here, right? Last one. Yes, so you should not, or you must not, or you cannot bring food in here or eat or consume food in here. Very good. So today, in today's class, the objective of today is to learn how to differentiate between various modal verbs that we talked about before, right? And how to use them appropriately, right? And we'll be doing a lot of fun activities with this. So I'm excited about this.